founder. That is Ratike Konaite. He's always got a beautiful big smile on his face. Ratike, good to see you as always.
Thank you. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of everything, please allow me to pass my congratulations to one of the oldest clubs in Africa, which is Bulawayo Highlanders, who are turning 100 years this week.
Wow, that's so.
I think it is a also deserve our congratulations. And yeah, I've got that out of the way.
I love it. It's coming out guns blazing. The first lady on my left, Ashley Nagazwe. We've got a little bit of beef at the moment between me and her. We won't disclose that to the public. But for now, I'll just greet her and say, looking lovely as always.
Listen, I'm a very happy girl. Speaking about Bulawayo and Zimbabwe, I'm very happy about the tournament that is happening at the moment, the Under-17 Girls Tournament. Happy that CAF is continuing with the women's football development. So
yeah.
Happy Thursday.
Look, I love it. I love it. I'm going to go to the far side. Our football strategist, that is Sudesh Singh, a man who will be sharing some nice insights today. He's got something up his sleeve. I know it's not a long sleeve, but there's something up his sleeve today. Sudesh, good to see you as always.
Always good, Fizzle.
And of course, we've got a special guest today. I'm not the only guest today. We've got a special guest in the man who's alongside me. I call him by his other name. I can't reveal it on here, but it's there if you look for it. It's Prima Shabalala, a South African football legend. Shaba, welcome to South Africa.
No, thank you, and greetings to everyone.
Look, I'm gonna share that name eventually at the end, when I say goodbye to you. But for now, I think let's get stuck into the FIFA World Cup draw. Just the reactions with regards to that. And I'm going to start with you, Shaba. When you think of FIFA World Cup, no doubt, it just brings really, really special memories.
Firstly, let me start by saying congratulations on a big milestone on the show, on reaching the 1000th episode, and all the best going forward. And with regards to the World Cup, I think each and every World Cup, when it comes, it always relieves that moment, the 2010 moment, and it brings excitement, it brings joy. And once again, I mean, especially with the draw, very interesting draw, especially that we get drawn against Mexico again, in Mexico, same day, same date, same month, same stage, the World Cup. It's just...
Oh man, I can see the nostalgia on your face, the nostalgia at the moment. And look, I've got to say, I know we have a moment that our producer wanted us to go through, and we wanted you to take us through this particular one. I hope you guys can share it now. But when we think of 2010, South Africa, it came to a standstill, but it was representing the entire continent at this very moment here. Take me through walking into the stadium.
Very nervous, also excited that finally, the dream, is becoming a reality. And first half was very difficult. I think Mexico in possession of the game, we are not settled, and Itu kept us in the game. He made great saves. But as the game progressed, we started settling, gaining a bit of confidence. There was balance, there was structure in the team.
And then
that moment, it was a beautiful goal, apart from the execution, but it was a team goal because we were defending, we were organized, and then we won position. And then from there it was transition. Kagiso played, I think, one of the best assists. And then
in 2020, I had the privilege of working with FIFA to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the goal, and they were reminding me, how did it feel? I'm like, then they were reminding us, there were so many players. It was Yaya, Pela, Modise, and then Shaba, La Duma. So that entire moment, every time when I see him, I'm just like, La Duma.
I can imagine, Shaba, how you felt about it. I mean, we were in the stadium. I'm sure, Brati, you were there.
Absolutely.
I jumped out of my...
World Cup. It's the biggest stage in the world, and also it was a message for Africa as well. Having been given an opportunity to host the World Cup, I think we raised our hand to the rest of the world to show that we are capable if given a chance. And it's a moment that everyone, also got an opportunity to tell their story. Not only me. There are those that were in the stadium. They can, tell their stories. Some were in the fan fest. Somewhere, somehow, people were not maybe in their good mood, but that moment, it changed everything and it brought joy. So I'll be eternally grateful for that moment.
Yeah, the funny thing, as you say, deja vu, because the current team has also been drawn against Mexico in the opening game in Mexico this time. But how much did Pereira tell you guys about Mexico prior to the game, and how much did you guys go through their videos just to plan for Mexico, and how much did he tell you about them and what to expect?
We prepared a lot. I must say that we were well prepared for the World Cup. We once had a month-long camp in Brazil and then went to Germany. So the preparations and the planning were based on the style of play and the attitude of the opponents. So even the friendly games that were prepared, they were just preparing us to be ready for Mexico as well. And it was an opponent that was very matured. Most of them, they were playing in the top leagues, technically and tactically, they were in a way much superior. So we were prepared and we knew what to expect. And it was not really a shock that, they were all over us in the first phase of the game. But because we were well prepared, we managed to contain and take that pressure.
Look, I have to admit, I'm probably the only person who missed a goal live. I was a student at the time. I missed it. I was a student at the time, so I was working at the fan park in Durban. And because I was working at the bar, I had gone across to go get something for one of the customers, and I just felt Pierre hitting me in the back of the head, and everyone running and screaming, and I was like, "What happened?" He's like, "Shabalala scored." So I've seen the goal, but I never saw it in the moment. Look, I think I'm the only one, Shaba. But I've seen the videos that you've posted, around the world, not only in South Africa, where people, approach you. I know you've been traveling quite a lot. How important? How special has that been? Where you've managed to touch lives not only in South Africa but all around the globe.
Yeah, I think my motto is that my greatest legacy will be the life that I've touched, and I've touched life through this gift, football, and the World Cup goal. It just blew, it elevated everything. Now I'm well known everywhere I go. Recently I was in US for the Club World Cup. Just out of the blue, someone approached me, already at my post. I don't know how he got it, where he got it, and he was from Asia, and he asked me to sign for it, and we also got an opportunity to speak about the goal and the impact that it had on his life. So those are the stories that humbles me, and I get that every day, for the past 16 years. And now it's gonna be worse. It's the World Cup is around the corner.
Next year.
I have to be there. Surely.
I hope also, Shaba, that SAFA could call you on board, to motivate the players and share your experience to motivate them what playing at the World Cup is,
No, I'd love to.
Especially because we've got a good crew of young players, we've got a good coach who's done a great job. I think we need some of you senior players who have experienced it at the highest level, especially yourself, scoring there. And against Mexico, I think that kind of motivation will do a lot of good.
And even more so because it's the opening game. I think there's a lot of pressure. I think them understanding how you felt, knowing that you were starting the tournament, and then you, as South Africans, scored in the biggest World Cup yet, 2010. And then now they have to repeat that in the next World Cup. There's that pressure that comes with opening the tournament. So I think that would be very valuable, like Cote today says.
Definitely. Now it's more like a return leg, right? So we play
I like that.
Yeah, but we have to appreciate that we've got a decent group of talented players. And they've earned the right to be in the World Cup. And I think they're capable as well of going to Mexico and cause an upset. It's every footballer's dream to play at the highest level. and it's their chance to raise their hand and compete. So we will go there and compete and show the world who we are, and also profile, our beautiful country at the highest stage.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how South Africa do go. But of course, we do have Mamadou Gay, who is also joining us today out in Niger. Mamadou, welcome to the show. We do have Shaba here in the studio with us. Any questions you want to throw his way?
Thank you very much, and congratulations, Shabalala, for the beautiful historical goal. But how does it feel to score such a beautiful goal and get knocked out in the first round?
Mamadou. That's my legend, Mamadou. I think on the goal, it'll always be a highlight. Playing in the World Cup, also hosting the World Cup will always be a highlight. Yes, it's disappointing that we got knocked out in the first round, but I think we did our best. It was just not good enough. There were highs as well. I think it was the first time we beat France in an official match, and unfortunately, we bowed out. But those are the lessons that we learned, and we took it. And in football, you always get opportunities to do better. And I'm sure the current squad will help us and take us, to greater heights.
Yeah, look, they don't call him the assassin of Abidjan for no reason. He came out swinging and firing, and that is Mamadou Gay. We'll be chatting with Mamadou throughout the show. But let's have a quick reaction with regards to the draw. And I think maybe let me start with you, Pratike.
Yeah.
You look at the draw itself. Were there any surprises for you when it came to that?
Of course, look, first of all, we must acknowledge that the World Cup has been expanded and Africa will be represented by 9 countries. Hopefully, the DR Congo will go through the hurdle that they will be going through in their last playoff match and make it 10 out of 54. And I think we accept nothing but at least having 5, if not 6 countries going through to the knockout stage. It's not going to be easy, mind you, except, of course, when you look at it, I think South Africa is in a very tough group. Mexico at home, and South Korea. A lot of people are saying, we can get 3 points out of South Korea. It's not going to be easy. Not that I'm underestimating our own country, but South Korea have been to the semi-final before, and they seem to qualify for every World Cup. And they are not going to be an easy opponent. Even the 4th country that will be joining, I mean, when you look at the fact that there will be Denmark in there, there will be, I mean, it's not going to be easy, but let's have faith in our boys. If they can get 4 points out of these 3 games, they stand a very good chance of going through to the knockout stage. Unlike Shaba's group, when they had 4 points and they had to go out on goal difference.
I think it's a fair group, like what Prachi said, because 2 go through and 8 of the best third place. So a win should see you at least come in 2nd or 3rd. I'll even be more optimistic than Pratike. I think when you look at all the African teams who are there already, 9, I can at least see 7 or 8 of them going through at least to the next round. I know that Cape Verde, debutants, they're in a very tough group. But when you look at the other groups, it's quite easy. I won't say easy, but less challenging. So I could see a lot of them either coming 2nd or 3rd, and getting those spots there because of the expanded number of countries. So I think it's time for Africa now to stand up. Shabo will agree, in 10 years, there's been a lot of growth in African football,
And also just the numerous teams numerous players that were represented during the Club World Cup, that will also work as an advantage for the African teams, because we had a number of players that participated in that tournament who already were in America at the time and were acclimatized to the conditions that are there. So they will be going back again next year it'll be nice to see how they perform.
Yes.
So I think the African teams will do well.
I think, Fiso, when you look at the last World Cup, you realize that Morocco got as far as the semi-finals. And now they will bring that experience, you know, knowing that if they can get to the semi-final, it's just one step further they can get to the final. But also, when you look back, you realize that Mamelodi Sundowns also took part in the FIFA Club World Cup, and they were not outplayed, you know. Just some silly errors that they committed, otherwise they could have gone through to the knockout stage. And as Sudesh said, gone are the days when Africa used, like the DR Congo, were given 9-0 in 1974.
Zaire,
you know,
yeah.
But they were known as Zaire then and got hammered 9-0.
Yeah.
But now you look at it, the score is just 1-0 or we win. You know, African teams win. Now the fear factor is no longer there, because we used to go there scared that, hey, this is the biggest stage and all that, and then we would be hammered. But now African teams, you know, go there with the intention to win. And I think it's about time that we improve on the semi-final that Morocco achieved, and then maybe go get one team that can go one further and go to the final.
Yeah, hopefully they can do exactly that. But I've got to bring in Mamadou Gueye here, because Cote d'Ivoire, their journey is going to be a tricky one, but they'll be backing themselves with the ability that they do have. Mamadou, how do you see Cote d'Ivoire faring in this particular group?
Look, I see all the 9 African countries doing well, in condition that this time around they realize that you don't go to the World Cup to party. You don't go to the World Cup to carry along your many girlfriends. Book them in the same hotel. That has been the downfall of African national team. Believe me, I've been following them and I've seen them. If discipline prevails, totally, believe me, all 9 countries will proceed to the next round, to the kick-off, and we will even end up having 4. If you look at it individually, we are better than Brazil. We are better than France, Germany. But our problem is each and every World Cup, even African Nation Cup, official players, they put their credit card at the reception. Before you know, the hotel is full.
Mamadou, that was a long time ago, man.
Yeah, it's still happening. What do you mean long time ago? It's still happening.
We are more
In the
professional in Africa.
professional world, let me tell you, because when they are in Europe, you cannot take a chance. But when they have an opportunity to go to the World Cup in a big 5-star hotel, then before you know, they are coming from all corners of the world. And that is a problem, and it's a serious problem. And I am saying it now. And it has to stop. Discipline.
I have to ask though, Mamadou mentions one thing, but I look at it the other side, you know. The African countries, as long as we sort out our off-the-field problems, bonuses, logistics, preparation, planning, those things I think are more important to me. If we get that right, you know, then I think the African teams will really perform well. Sort out your bonus issues well before the tournament starts. Your logistics, your training camp, your dates, call-up dates, your preparation, the games you're going to play, all those kind of stuff, you know. Sort all of that out to the highest level, because this is every football person's dream, whether you're a player or a coach, to be at the World Cup. It's the highest level of football in any kind of sphere. So you've got to do things in the best possible way, the most professional way. Yes, Mamadou mentioned discipline. That's an important part of it. But also African teams, what has always kept us tripping up off the field issues. You know, we shoot ourselves in the foot. We don't sort out the players' bonuses and be transparent. There's always like 100 officials accompanying the team. You don't know who they are, coming into the change room, giving players orders, you know, all that kind of things that shouldn't be there at this level.
Shaba? Credit cards?
But I totally agree.
I think another important thing, South Africa is going to Mexico, where the altitude is very, very, very high.
And I think 2,200, 2,240, yeah.
Absolutely. So it is very important for our team
acclimatize.
To acclimatize properly, and if they plan on getting a country where they can prepare with the same altitude as Mexico, or even go to Mexico itself well in advance, then I think we should be able to do well, because I think we played 2 games in Mexico.
Preparation is very important as well, because you have to profile the opponent, and when you prepare friendly game, you pick an opponent that plays the exact same style as maybe your Mexico or Korea as well. So it's very important, and also have people go to Mexico as well to do the research, to check the place, everything, so that by the time the team arrives, at least they get to settle, because there's less time for the team to settle as well. And I agree with Suresh as well that that the World Cup is in 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So you need to sort out the administrative issues, the issue of bonuses. It should be resolved. We wouldn't like to hear stories of bonuses on the eve of the first game or just before the World Cup. Those are the things that you must make sure that you sort them out as early, as quick as possible. And then that now you prepare for the game. Everyone is in the right frame of mind. Everyone needs to know, their task, what they need to do.
I want to throw it to the floor. I mean, we've covered a lot of topics with regards to the World Cup itself, but in terms of European-based players and arriving late and teams not releasing players maybe as early as teams would want, how do we deal with that, and how much does it impact the teams? I want to open that to the floor.
I think it will be easy. The issue here is the Africa Cup of Nations, where FIFA has instructed European clubs that they are only obliged to release players 6 days before the tournament. But at the World Cup, I think many European leagues end their leagues end in May. So obviously, it is up to the different federations to negotiate for their players to be released, maybe at least by the end of May. They should be released, because the tournament, I think, starts in the 3rd week of June. So almost all the leagues across the world will be closed. So I don't think it will be too much of a problem. The problem only arises when it is the Cup of Nations. But in the World Cup, I think it will be much easier. There won't be so much help.
Yeah, but I also think that maybe you are more on an advantage side as South Africa, especially if you go to AFCON, because the core of the team is local based.
Yeah.
So there's understanding as well. There's great synergies. Then maybe it's a little headache for the coach, but he knows maybe 2 or 3 players will arrive late. Then that will not better his preparation. Then he can do some makeshift there and still be okay. Unlike when maybe 6 or 7 players, then they would arrive a week before a big tournament. I think that will be a big blow.
Yeah, I think Shaba makes a very good point. I was going to talk about it. We spoke last week about the AFCON and the timing. But in this respect, I think the African teams will actually gain from having the AFCON now, 6 months before the World Cup, because it builds that team rhythm and cohesion. The coach can see which players fit in his setup, and then where to add, or which players won't make it. So it actually gives African teams the upper hand. Yes, we know the issue of later arrival of players and stuff like that. But I think this AFCON could actually work in favor of the African teams going to the World Cup.
Yeah, it could be a massive one. I wonder if Mamadou shares those exact thoughts as well with regards to the arrival of the players and everything being quite smooth. Mamadou, what are your thoughts with regards to the synergy that Suresh is mentioning, that it could be something that's quite beneficial to the African teams playing such an intense tournament just before the World Cup?
Not all African teams, especially those who are going to the World Cup. if you do poorly or badly in the African Nation Cup, the coach is guaranteed to be fired. This is a very dangerous turning point for many of the coaches, because you go there, you get knocked out of the first round while you're supposed to go to the World Cup. You know that you will be out of your job. But then it's a very dangerous moment and situation for many of the coaches that are qualified for the World Cup. You have to perform. And obviously, it could also dent the moral of certain teams. Imagine you are qualified for the World Cup and you get knocked out in the first round. The attack, the persecution, and it will be a low moral in the build-up to the World Cup. Then it's the other side of the coin.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, a great point Mamadou is making there with regards to that. But I'm happy that you mentioning coaches, because there will be a major focus going into the Africa Cup of Nations, as well they will for the World Cup as well. Let's get some reactions from that World Cup draw from all the respective coaches.
Well, you know, we are a young team, a new team that is built in the last 2 years. We made a lot of progression, and we had good experience also in tournaments like the African Cup. But this is something new for us, and I think it will be a very good thing for the team to make that last step that we had to make to play on the very highest level what the world champion is. So we're looking forward, all of us, and we will try to do our best and have good results.
No, it's a good group. I think Cote d'Ivoire has its chances. It's up to us to make sure we take a serious approach. We'll play our first match against Ecuador, which is a very, very good team. A team that plays with a lot of energy. Fortunately, it so happens that we're also a team that plays with a lot of energy. Up next, we'll take on Germany, who are another very difficult side to play against. With that in mind, it's clear that we do need to be at our very best throughout if we want to make it through to the next stage. As we know, we've never qualified for the knockout stages of the World Cup, so as you would expect, we are looking at that as our first priority this time round. And as I said, African football is making progress, and it's very important that the people of Africa have more belief in their team and their ability to progress at a World Cup. Likewise, it's important for citizens of Cote d'Ivoire to trust in the team.
Actually, there's no particular game I look forward to. Special, again special. Very important for us that we don't break any team. For sure, England is the favorite in that group. Ghana, due to the past, have a strong relationship with England, so it's going to be very, very exciting for a lot of people. But for me as coach, to be honest, I'm looking to each game equally, and I'm hoping that we have good styles come on. That will be very, very crucial. And make the other games a little bit more relaxed or more easier for players, psychological. I'm really looking forward to the tournament.
Jealous has proved its extraordinary cleaning.
Welcome back to Soccer Africa. We've been discussing the FIFA World Cup draw and, of course, all the excitement. But when you speak of excitement, you also got to focus in on all the nitty-gritties with regards to African football, and that also includes things like the Visit Rwanda sponsorship that has been happening at some of the biggest clubs around Europe. That is, of course, PSG, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, to name a few. And there has been a story that has come out that Arsenal will not be renewing their sponsorship deal with Visit Rwanda. And we've got a visitor to take us through that. That is, of course, Ngobile Ndlovu from Cash and Sport. Ngobile, thank you for joining us, my brother. Maybe if you could just dissect this very deal and why Rwanda had opted in the very first place to implement it around the world of football.
Yeah, thanks for having me. In terms of Arsenal and the Visit Rwanda deal, it was estimated to be roughly about £10 million a year for the duration of the deal. And the reason why Rwanda had initiated it is because Rwanda has a strategy that sought to attract visitors to the country, because Rwanda as a country is quite small. And generally speaking, outside of the issues that they had, in terms of the genocide, outside of that, the only main thing that people knew Rwanda for was probably the guerrillas. So what they wanted to do was to bring attention towards the country, raise awareness about the fact that the country exists and it has other things to offer, and use that strategy to start building a different, narrative around the country. And that's the reason why they took it up.
I think a lot of people will be asking themselves, for a country like Rwanda in Africa, is something like this worthwhile? Is it something that's valuable for them? And has it worked so far with regards to their sponsorship?
In terms of the real numbers, it has worked. The visitors, in terms of visitors, since the sponsorship started, have increased over 47%. And the largest number of that proportion has come from Europe. And because those sponsorships have been based in Europe and they've been kind of shedding Rwanda in a good light, it's increased the number of people who firstly know about Rwanda and the fact that it exists and that it's an opportunity to go to, and also want to go to Rwanda for things such as meetings and events and so on. So I like to try and liken this to an overall strategy. People just look at sponsorship and they think, well, it's money that's going to waste and there's no reason why it's going there. But you have to think about the holistic strategy. And the Rwandan strategy was this: we're a small country, people don't know about us, so we're going to use the biggest teams in the world to advertise the fact that we exist. And then on top of that, we're going to build infrastructure, which is why they built the Amahoro Stadium. They built, all of the roads and the places, and they want to host things like the Formula One and the like. So the infrastructure is there now. And then on top of that, they then build other industries such as meetings, events, and so on. So the overall strategy was, get to know about us, we'll build the infrastructure so that you can come and host your events here, and then we'll also start hosting worldwide events like the cycling and so on, so that once you leave and once these sponsorship deals are done, we have infrastructure, we host multiple events every year, and we've built an industry inside Rwanda that people didn't know about.
Nobile, I see recently there's been a shift of strategy. They're pulling away from Europe and going to USA. They've done a deal with the LA Clippers, the NBA team, and LA Rams, the NFL. Do you think that's linked to geopolitical movements? Because PSG, about 75,000 of their fans signed petitions, they don't want it. Bayern Munich is the same thing, and obviously you mentioned Arsenal. Do you think there's a shift strategically away from Europe to USA?
There is probably a shift strategically because they also don't want the bad press. The whole reason why they did the sponsorship is that they want to, portray a positive image about the country. So if those countries are now starting to be hostile towards it, they might want to shift the strategy to another area where perhaps those issues are not really problematic for them. And the Americans, in the main, they've got a president like President Trump who's already kind of a little bit of a divisive figure. So they've got other issues to worry about besides whether their money is going towards Rwanda or not in terms of sponsoring the Clippers. But I do agree with you that it's a smart kind of shift. But I think in a few years' time, they won't need these sponsorships because it will have done the job of kind of bringing attention towards the country. And they haven't done that in America.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. We really appreciate that, of course. Just taking us through all the nitty-gritties with regards to the Visit Rwanda. I'm sure a lot of people have been seeing it on sleeves of some of the biggest teams around the world, and really they're just breaking it down quite nicely for us. So I'll let you go enjoy the rest of your evening, my brother. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, so much happening in the world of football, and it's not only sponsorships, but also some of our biggest players are coming into focus. Of course, there's a song that they sing out at Anfield, You Never Walk Alone, but I saw a picture on Instagram the other day of Mohamed Salah training in the gym alone. So Who wants to start
He was
with this
in
one?
Milan, so he had to train alone.
They
were in Milan, they were playing Champions League.
And they won.
And they won. So he had to train
He's
alone.
big enough, he can train alone. There's
But
nothing wrong with that.
so yes, there's so many layers to the story. Obviously, the first thing to just get it out of the way. There's ways to do that, and maybe there's no player who's bigger than a club. It should have been done the right way, if there is a right way. So on that, maybe he was offside. But there's so many layers when you look at it. I mean, he's been the greatest player in the last 10 odd years. He's done amazing. And when you look at the volatile English press, and there's one guy, I don't want to mention Bratike's friend who talks a lot, a former player. He's been vocal like crazy, and it just shows that they have something against non-English players, Yes, it's emotional. Shaba will tell you, some players, we're all human beings, we all have our flaws, Sometimes we pour out in different ways. And maybe he did that because of his emotional, frustrated, can't understand why he's been dropped. Yes, he did go public and which was out of order. But you've got to analyze deeper what's the underlying source of these things,
But also remember that AFCON is coming. If he's going to be dropped when a big tournament is coming up, how does he stay informed? He needs to also keep his momentum, so when he comes to Africa for the tournament, he's ready and he's fit and he's got the groove on. That was, and unfortunately, he had to come out to the press and obviously do whatever he did. But I feel like he's a human being who needed to express how he was feeling. Unfortunately, it came through the media, but it had to be said somehow. He could have done it better, but I can understand his frustration.
But there is a sense in some quarters that there was a selfish nature to it. Team is struggling, senior player, big player. Was that the right time? Did the team need that sort of a distraction on top of the problems that they've already had? I don't know what you guys think.
There is a feeling that if I have Shaba in my team, I know what Shaba can do for me and for the team. Even if I see that he's off form, sometimes as a coach, you try to keep him there because he can conjure up something. He can, out of nothing, he can do something. And I think what Salah has done for Liverpool, quite frankly, I think he deserves better treatment than what is happening to him right now.
You're right, Bradley, because Jurgen Klopp also made a similar comment to say that a guy like Salah, if he's not playing, then he'll become a problem because he's that kind of guy. And not on ego, he gives his all. He always wants to play because he wants to do his thing. And now you don't even tell him why he's dropped.
Yes.
And people are saying, I felt like also the coach and the club could have done better because after that outburst, the coach is the first one to say, hey, let's have a meeting. What's going on? What do you feel? But they all went quiet for days.
Yeah, exactly.
And they waited for press, because I was watching it the entire week, and they waited for press to come by the training fields, waiting for Mohamed Salah to come, and now they're calling him Mohamed Salah because
I think the
it just didn't make sense this entire week.
It questions player management. I think player management is very important because you should know your players and have a great relationship with your players. And Mohamed is not a bad person in terms of attitude. Clearly there's something, for him to act the way that he did. And as players, there are players that deserve more respect, to be quite frank. And he's one of those players. I mean, his work speaks for him.
Yeah.
And what he's achieved as a foreign player in one of the biggest teams in the world, in England as well. I think he deserved a bit of more respect. But the big thing, the issue was, I think, the player management relationships. Because even when they were not doing well, he was there. He wanted to play. Yes, there will be times where you're not doing well, you're not performing to your standard, but you still want to be there. That says a lot a lot of the quality of a person. When chips are down, you still want to be there. You don't want to be seen only when the club is doing well.
But also Shaba, I think there was a time where Saudi Arabia dangled big monies. But he showed his loyalty to Liverpool and stayed. Rejected the Saudis with their dollars, and stayed with Liverpool. That is why I still maintain, surely Mo Salah deserved better treatment than how Liverpool has treated him, irrespective of what German Carragers of this world are saying. I think he deserved better treatment from Liverpool.
248 goals for one person at a club. Even Wayne Rooney, who was attacking him, didn't get as many goals.
Jamie Carragher got the record for 7 own goals, I think. And he scored 1 goal.
I don't like you mentioning Wayne Rooney for no reason.
No, listen.
Please pull yourself towards yourself.
Our beef is too strong.
Okay.
So let's leave it off camera.
I gotta go to Mamadou. Mamadou, you've heard the thoughts of everyone here with regards to the Mohamed Salah issue. A lot of legends coming out and voicing their opinions. What is your opinion as a journalist and someone who's covered African football and who will have a close idea of what Mo Salah is all about?
Look, probably Mo Salah is a good player, but a very selfish and greedy player. That's why, look, Mo Salah pushed Sadio Mane out of Liverpool. You could see when he was playing with Sadio, he wanted everything for himself. People are saying he scored 200 goals, 300 goals. Football, it's a collective game. If people don't pass him the ball, he won't score. Sadio Mane used to give him all the passes to score, but he will never pass Sadio Mane. And that wrong attitude, it's the same attitude he took with the Pharaohs. That's why under his leadership, Egypt is nowhere to be found. In AFCON, nowhere. Even now we are going to AFCON in Morocco, he is not going to do anything. Everything else about himself, about his ego. Now, when he was supposed to go to Saudi Arabia, he did not go because he realized that he was not going to get the same favor and treatment in Liverpool where everybody were playing for him. Now, and on top of that, the money was similar to what he's getting in Liverpool. Today he's not performing, he's turning around and blaming everybody except himself. If you are not performing, you must check yourself first. Don't try to blame everybody, come with a bad and wrong attitude. And the same kind of attitude, he did it also with the Egyptian national team so many times. Then today, what goes around come around. Now he's feeling it and he's paying the price.
Yeah, look, I mean, Mamadou, he used words that he feels like the club has thrown him under the bus because he's saying that I'm not the only one who's not performing. Is that something that is the right message for the group that is struggling at the moment? And should other players also maybe come out of the team? What do you think?
But when the club is performing, he will take the glory for himself. He will never recognize his teammate. Never. He will say, it's me, Salah. I am the greatest. I am the best. And that was his attitude with Sadio Mane. Once I spoke to the manager of Sadio Mane, he told me clearly that Sadio Mane, Salah called Mane to tell him, hey, you must give me nice passes so that I can be the best goal scorer of the season. What kind of mentality is that? And that is Mo Salah for you. It's about him. When it's good, it's him. I am the best. But when it's not good, he turn around and blame everybody else.
Yeah, look, I've got to throw a question out into the floor with regards to, is there a way back for Mo Salah with regards to this particular situation? I'm going to start with you as a player, Shaba. Is there a way back? Can they patch things up, do you think?
Yeah, he's a senior player. He's one of the best players. And I'm sure they can resolve the situation through conversations. He's still contracted to the club. I don't think the relationship is entirely broken. I think there's still a chance for them to mend things.
I'll record and say maybe when they had the meeting after that entire scandal, they obviously told him to cool off. Hence, he was left off the last Champions League fixture. However, you really never know. He obviously can't be taken out of his contract because his contract is not going to end just now. So I think he's still going to stay in Liverpool. Hopefully they can mend whatever it is problems that they have with the manager, because obviously it's the manager that he's having issues with. I don't know about the management, but I honestly feel that they had a meeting where they said, cool off. I don't think you should go into the next game with this kind of energy. Cool off, feel better, and then maybe in the next match he will be part of the squad.
And what on his... But
no chance. No chance.
I have to throw this into the mix, particularly. Yeah. When Arne Slot spoke to Clarence Seedorf during the week in the Champions League, he posed that question out there, and I think as an ex-player, he came to the defense of Mohamed Salah, and I think Arne Slot said, does he see the mistake in what he's done? That has to be the starting point. Or does he say, look, I'm sticking to my guns? Is that going to cause a problem?
But he literally said,
Mo Salah will stay. I think for both the player and the team, it will be better for Mo Salah to leave.
But Mohamed Salah hasn't said earlier, but
I think Mo Salah has overstayed his welcome at Liverpool.
He hasn't said
he has been there for so long, and his reaction just clearly showed that I think his heart is no longer there at Liverpool.
Maybe up until the end of the season, but he hasn't said anything about leaving.
He has achieved everything there. He's done everything. He's 33, going on 34.
The best thing
take
for Mo
the big
Salah
money in Saudi Arabia and go there and play for another 3-4 years, you know.
Absolutely.
I think January he'll probably go.
All right, so maybe he gets a nice golden handshake. Maybe he signs for Shaba's beloved City for 6 months.
Oh, we'll see. Would
you love to see Salah?
Fizo, maybe we'll see him in MLS.
Oh,
you'll be playing against
Bugatti. No, I love that he brings that up, and of course, Suresh bringing up MLS. I think he's having a look at my notes here, and he wants to see what we're going to discuss next. Don't go anywhere. We still have a lot to speak about here on Soccer Africa, and of course, we've got a subject around a certain South African centre back that will be getting stuck. Welcome back to Soccer Africa. It's been a really good show so far, and of course, there's so much news that's making the headlines, and the one that we have to really focus on is, of course, the news that Mbegazeli Mbogazi has signed for Chicago Fire. That came out a while back, but I guess we want to get stuck into the broader subject around that, and I think because we have Shaba here, I want to, from a player point of view, with regards to development, how good a move do you think this is for Mbegazeli Mbogazi?
Yeah, I think, for a player of his caliber and age, I would have thought that maybe we'd go to Europe. But one is to see it in different ways, not only on the recreational side of it, but on the business model of football, right? He still has a chance. I see him maybe playing at the most 2 years, and then go to Europe to a bigger team. I think that's the model as well. I think when they bought him, they saw value in him, and the model is you buy, you invest, you groom, and then you sell, you make more, and he still grows to be a bigger player and a better player in more developed leagues. And I think you should just now, focus on AFCON, and then post AFCON, do well at club level. There's World Cup. There's still a big opportunity. If you do well in the World Cup, you still get a chance. It's not a lifetime contract. You still get a chance to play. I mean, 23, you still have time to have a great career abroad.
Yeah, Fizo, many people are not aware. I think Shaba touched a bit on it. The MLS has a shift in strategy. They've become more like a global development league. They try to recruit talented young players from South America and Africa. And this has happened over the last 5 years. You look at players like Alphonso Davies from Canada playing for Bayern Munich. You look at Thiago Almada. He was in the squad of Argentina's World Cup winning team. He was in USA and is now in Europe. And there's quite a few other players. You look in the last 5 years, they've traded about 77 players into European League. 14 are playing currently in the EPL. So there's been that change in strategy to make the MLS a mid-tier league, like where your Belgium, Scandinavian leagues are. Yes, now and again they will bring the big star like a Messi or someone. So when you talk a team like Chicago Fire, Brati, they had our friend Dipsy play there. Dipsy Silwane, yeah. Risto Stoichkov played there. Yes, it's not one of the more fancy named teams, but this team also trades a lot. One of the players was Jean Duran. He played for Aston Villa and now is in Saudi. Colombia, they got him as a 17 or 18 years old from Colombia. So you can see the shift in strategy, which is smart. Same thing Saudi Arabia is doing now. They're not just going for big, older players. They're also going for younger players. Because this is the way they provide them with a good league. There's great infrastructure, great facilities, nice lifestyle. USA English speaking. I know Hugo Bruce came out and said something to the opposite, but maybe he didn't have in-depth knowledge of what the strategy is. Shaba mentioned, yes, Bogazi is 2021, plays there for a year or two. Surely he'll get a big move. And the USA is hosting the World Cup next year. All the eyes are going to be there. Plus the MLS deal with Apple TV makes it globally accessible. Everyone watches that league, So everyone's looking at these top young players who are there. Chelsea just bought a young goalkeeper, also from there. So the eyes are going to be there. I think you've got to give Pirates a due. They've done some good business. People will say, why isn't Cote going to Saudi? Why is Bogazi going to MLS? I was involved in one of the deals with one of the players with Paris for a club in Europe with Hervé Renard's agent. But the European club couldn't even give Paris a decent offer, not even 1.5 million. So it's the respect also for African young talent. And here's a club comes and pays a decent amount, plus provides them with a springboard to Europe within a year or two. So people are not aware of this. We still, have these stereotypes. MLS is a retirement place for big name players and stuff like that. But they've changed their strategy around together. Watch MLS grow bigger and bigger even after the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, it's no doubt a deal that's going to continue to be in the spotlight. One that Coach Hugo Bruce said wasn't too happy with, but we won't go there today. Instead, what we'll do, we'll go to Mamadou Gueye, because there's also news around the Cote d'Ivoire national team. And of course, the 25-man squad is out. And Simon Adingra, as well as Nicolas Pepe, not included in there. Mamadou, was there any surprises, especially with Wilfried Zaha being in the mix?
Yeah, Adingra is not playing at the moment with his club. He is warming the bench there. And for Nicolas Pepe, obviously, is controversial partnership with the Algerian blogger or influencer. I mean, it was some kind of diplomatic problem, because the way he came out and mocked Morocco and spoke about Morocco, number one, knowing that the next AFCON is in Morocco, and number two, everybody remember that when Cote d'Ivoire lifted the cup, the Max Gradel, the captain, carried the Moroccan flag around the pitch, thanking Morocco for defeating Zambia to allow Cote d'Ivoire to come in. And I think all that did not go down well with the Football Federation. Even Faye mentioned it indirectly. He said he select players based on their performance on the pitch and their also behavior outside the pitch. Then obviously the Ivory Coast Football Federation did not want to go to Morocco and having the entire Morocco against them, especially if they had to carry Pepe, who is doing quite well, honestly, with Villarreal. But that was more of a political decision than anything else.
Yeah, no, thank you for those reactions, Mamadou. I really appreciate your time, and we hope that you enjoy your stay out in Niger. no doubt I'll be seeing you soon back in South Africa.
Yes, I am in Nigeria because there is the MENA Door. This is the yearly award of the Nigerian Football Federation. It will be graced by African legend, President of Football Federation, and it's going to take place on Saturday.
I will do our greetings to our General Pele, which reminds me that
I will pass him on the greeting.
No, thank you very much, Mamadou.
I mentioned Highlanders at the beginning. Peter Ndlovu, who is a legend of Highlanders, has also been invited. Remember, Madinda Ndlovu, Willard Kumalo, the late, so many big players who come out of Highlanders. And by the way, they draw an average 20,000 spectators at the Power Field every week that they play.
Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Look, obviously, it's almost time for us to go. Shaba, just in signing out, what are you up to these days, and what can we expect from you? I know, I'm sure, like the guy said, you'll probably be at the World Cup. What else are you busy with? I know CAF, FIFA, they always call upon.
Yeah, I'm due to travel this weekend to Doha for the FIFA Players Executive Program session for 10 days, and then continue with my initiatives through my foundation, because it's festive. So we'll be helping the needy as well with food parcels as well, and blankets, and prepare for back to school campaign, and also my partnerships with various brands, so that keeps me busier.
Look at the
Shaba, the future SAFA president, is equipping himself. Is he studying, doing his thing behind the scene? When it's time, he will visit. Well done.
That's it. I'm not gonna say anything, Shaba.
Last week you were prophesying another. You are prophesying here. Now it's
and he's doing the right thing.
I see you.
He's keeping
I
quiet.
see you.
He's getting equipped.
Yeah, no.
Himself with the right knowledge.
No, we have to give back to
Well
people.
No, for sure. Thank you very much for coming through today. Thank you to everyone along the panel today. Thank you to Mamadou Gay. Thank you to all of you that have joined us for Soccer Africa. It's been a beautiful show. There's still so much we would have loved to have spoken about, but for now, we'll say good night.
Thanks to you.